Hey guys, welcome back to Remote Learning. I hope you and your families are all doing well, and I really do hope to see you guys all back at school soon. Alright, so getting right back into it, we're continuing on with our topic of financial maths, and this lesson will be about simple interest. By the end of this lesson, we should be able to calculate the amount of simple interest, be able to calculate the total amount owed on a loan, and finally be able to find the interest paid to a bank account. Let's just pause the video here, take a couple of minutes to write these down. Alright, so let's start off with what interest is. So you guys might have heard of this word before, but interest is just the charge for borrowing money. As you can see on the right here, there's a couple of different types of interest, but for today, we're just going to be focusing on simple interest. Alright, so as the name suggests, simple interest is the simplest one out of all these, and it is just a fixed percentage of the amount invested or borrowed and is calculated on the original amount. So just quickly pause the video and write this down. This word should say calculated there. Alright, so let's just quickly go through an example scenario here. So let's say we keep $1,000 in a bank account that pays a simple interest rate at the rate of 5% per annum. So you'll be seeing this word quite often, per annum. It can also be written as PA. That just means per year. So the word annum comes from the word annual, which means year. So just keep that in mind for the future. Alright, so in this scenario here, it means for each year we leave the money in the account, an interest rate of 5% of the original amount will be paid to us. So that means 5% of $1,000 will be paid to us per year. So that means we will get a total of $50 per year for this investment there. Alright, so to calculate simple interest, we need to know three things. We firstly need to know the principal, which is the initial investment, the interest rate, which is usually a percentage per annum, and finally time, the length of time the money is invested or borrowed. Alright, let's go on to our first example here. So how much interest will be earned if investing $1,000 at $5,000 per annum simple interest for 3 years? So this is going on from the example scenario I just went through. So first off, we need to find 5% of $1,000. Let's just write that there. And that can be found by doing 5 over 100 times 1,000. Or if you wanted to use decimals, you could do 0.05 times 1,000. Either one there is fine. Alright, once you work that out or put that in your calculator, that will give you a value of $50. Alright, so each year we're going to be earning $50 and we're investing it for 3 years. So we're going to times that by 3, and after 3 years that will become $150 there. So that means our final answer will be the interest for 3 years. I'll just write that down. 3 years equals $150. Alright, so we can write this out into a formula and it will look something like this. I equals P times R times T divided by 100. Make sure you've got that written down somewhere in your books, it'll be important. And I just means the total interest earned or paid in dollars. P is the principal in dollars, which is the initial amount borrowed or invested. R is the percentage interest in rate per annum, and T is just the time in years of the loan or investment. Alright, let's have a go at using that formula there. I'm just going to rewrite it up the top here so I can refer to it pretty easily when working out this problem. Alright, so this example question says calculate the amount of simple interest that will be paid on an investment of $5,000 at 10% simple interest per annum for 3 years and 6 months. Alright, so we're trying to find I here, and we know I equals P times R times T over 100. So P is the principal of the initial investment, and that is going to be a value of $5,000. So I equals, replace P with 5,000, and then we know the rate as well. Rate is 10% per annum, so I'm going to replace R with 10, and T is 3 years and 6 months, which is 3.5 years. So I'm going to replace T with 3.5 and then divide that by 100. Alright, at this point you'll just get out your calculators, open up main, and you type that in. I'll just clear everything for you there. Just clear all. Yep. Go onto keyboard, open up the fractions one there, and type in your values. This will be 5,000 times 10 times 3.5 over 100. Should be a negative there, and you'll have a value. I'll just fix that up, should say 10, press enter, you have a value of 1,750. So after 3.5 years you would have made a total of $1,750 there. Alright, so moving on, the next thing we need to know is how much your cash is worth at the end of the loan or investment. So this is very important here, Because when you're investing in something, you want to find out what your money will be worth at the end of the investment. Also, when you're borrowing money, let's say to buy a car, if you borrow a value of $10,000, you want to know at the end how much you've actually paid back at the end of the loan. So depending on the loan rate, you might pay $11,000, you might pay $12,000, you might even pay $15,000. That just really depends on your loan rate. So this is why it's important to find out the total value of a simple interest investment or a loan. And the formula is there for you, A equals PI. Make sure you've got that down in your books. A just means the total amount after 2 years, so how much the money is worth after 2 years. P is the principal and I is the interest. So once you've got those two values, you just add them together. Alright, let's have a go at doing an example problem with that formula. So we got find the total amount owed on a simple interest loan of $16,000 at 8% per annum after 2 years. So remember the formula was A equals P plus I. Well, let's have a look. We've got the principal here of $16,000, but I actually don't have I for interest. So I need to go back to one of the previous formulas, which is I equals PRT over 100. So I'm going to use this formula to find out I first, and then replace that I with what I get from this formula. So I've got I equals PRT over 100. Let's use that first. So I is going to equal principal of 16,000 times R, which is 8, the rate, and T times 2 years over 100. Then you just put that into your calculators. So that's what your calculator should look like there. Just press enter and you get 2,560 as your interest there. So now we can move on to this formula here, A equals P plus I. So just plug those values into there. So A is going to equal P, which is 16,000 again, principal, plus I, 2,560. And if you work that out, that will give you a value of 18,560. So if you were borrowing $16,000 in this scenario here, you would actually end up paying a total of $18,560 at the end of the 2 years. So your final answer will be total amount owed. Let's write that down. Total amount owed at end of loan is $18,560. Alright, so you can see when we're borrowing money, we're actually losing a little bit of money because we paid an extra $2,560. But interest can also be good for us because when we keep money in the bank, interest is paid from the bank to us. The amount of interest paid to us, like a loan, also depends on the rate of interest and how much money you have in the bank. Obviously, the more amount of money you have in the bank, the better. But generally, banks pay interest on the minimum monthly balance, which is the lowest amount the account has in each month. So it's always calculated according to the lowest amount. Alright, let's have a go at an example problem here that works out the interest paid to a bank account. Alright, so this table here shows the entries in Tom's bank account. If the bank pays interest rate 3% per annum on the minimum monthly balance, find the interest payable for the month of July, correct to the nearest cent. Alright, so the first thing you'll find is the minimum monthly balance. That's the lowest amount Tom's account had in the month of July. So you can see here the lowest amount straight away is $350. So we know, let's just write lowest equals 350. I'm going to need that number for a calculation. Next, we're going to write out the formula again. We're going to use the formula I equals PRT over 100 because we want to find out how much interest is paid. Right, so I equals PRT. So let's try and find that out. I equals P is the principal, which is our lowest value, 350 times the rate of 3%. Times time. Time was 1 month. So remember, all these formulas are in years. So I need to convert 1 month into years. So that's just going to be, I'm just going to write that as a fraction. That's going to be 1 over 12 months. And we'll divide this part by 100 there. I'll just write that out a bit neater so it makes a bit more sense. That's just going to be that times 1 over 12. Alright, once you've got that, I'll just type that into the calculator just like that and press enter and you'll get a value of 0.875. So that means for the month of July, Tom makes a value of $0.875. Let's write that there, but the question asks for it to the nearest cent. So we'll have a value of 0.88 there. So you could write your answer as either $0.88 or 88 cents. Either one will be fine there. Alright, last thing to go through today is using the Casio class pad to explore the growth of interest earned in a simple interest investment. Alright, so I hope you all have your CAS with you. Hopefully you all took them home at the start of lockdown. If you didn't, please make sure you download the emulator. Hopefully you guys still have a bit of free trials left. So this question says $10,000 is invested at a simple interest rate of 8.25% per annum for a 10-year period. Pull up the growth in interest earned over this period. Alright, so your first step will be to find a rule for the interest earned after 10 years for a simple interest investment when P equals $10,000 and I equals 8.25%. So all that is found there, $10,000 and 8.25% per annum. So we're going to find that out by doing I equals PRT over 100 because we're trying to find the amount of interest earned. So we're just going to use that again. So I is going to be P, which is 10,000 times R 8.25. The time is 10 because it's 10-year period over 100. And once you put that into a calculator, you will get I equals 825T. Alright, step 2 is to enter this rule in the sequence. So let's open up our CAS calculators here. And you would have to go into sequence. So sequence is on the next page there, and open sequence right there. Once you've done that, we're going to select the explicit tab. So we've got recursive here, we're going to click explicit up the top there. Once you've done that, just make sure your cursor is on the A and E one. If it's flashing there, that's good. Once you've done that, just type in 825N. I'm just going to do that right here, 825N. And then once you've done that, we're going to press, actually we're going to use this N, sorry, don't type N, make sure you press that N there. Once you've done that, just press enter or press EXE on your calculators and it should come up with a tick right there. Alright, step 3, we're going to click on this icon there. So top left of your CAS calculator, just touch that there and it should come up with something like this. Alright, once you've done that, just click on this button up there, it's the third from the left, and just change the start to 1 and let's go to 50 here. In this case, the N wouldn't really matter as long as it's more than 10 years because we're trying to find out our growth after 10 years. So once you've done that, just press OK. And once you press OK, your table should have changed a little bit. You can now scroll down to see more values all the way up to 50 right there. So, but we just want to see up to 10 for now. So you could have really just typed in 10. Alright, now we can see that after 10 years, from his $10,000, he's made another $8,250. Alright, so that's all good. Our next step is to make a graph with that. So just the steps are right there. I'm just going to run out all this so it's a bit more clear. Alright, so to graph, I'm going to click that button, second from the left there. Just click that. And once you've done that, we're going to click the view window button. It's just that one there. Alright, so we need to change a few values here. Just copy along with me as you go. In the stacks, these values will be given to you. Alright, so the min, just change that to 0 there. Max, change that to 11. Scale, keep that as 1. Y min, just change that to 0. Keep the dot, whatever your values are, will be different for each calculator. And change max to 8,500 and just keep that scale on 1 as well. Once you've done that, just press OK there. Alright, so you should now have a graph that looks like this, and then press analysis and we're going to click the trace button there and you'll see the formula there. And if you move left and right with your keypad, you'll see the different values. Alright, so as you can see, this is a linear graph because it makes a straight line. And just a keynote for simple interest, all the graphs will always be linear. Once again, simple interest always makes a linear graph. If you did have any questions on how to use it, just let me know, or if you did struggle along the way, and I'll be more than happy to help you in the Google Meets. Alright, so that brings us to the end of the lesson on simple interest. Hopefully by now you guys can calculate the amount of simple interest, can calculate the total amount owed on a loan, and finally can find the interest paid to a bank account. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all back online.